The headlines just keep coming. Not long ago, most of us weren't familiar with terms like gender identity or puberty blockers. But the number of young people who now identify as transgender has exploded. Between 2009 and 2018, the number of boys referred to the Gender Identity Development Service rose by 1,460%. The number of girls rose by more than 5,000%.
There are a small number of people who do not identify with the gender that they were born into.
Dr. Hilary Cass, a leading paediatrician, to review its gender services for children.
Just changing your clothes doesn't change who you are.
I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic.
What is a woman? A fallacy which has been propagated by gender ideologues and is doing profound damage.
At the heart of the gender debate is this question: what makes you a man or a woman? Is it your sex, your unchanging biology based on chromosomes? Or is it your gender identity, who you feel you are on the inside? Some people might be biologically male, but say, I feel like I'm a woman. And the experience of sex and gender identity not aligning is what we call transgender. Now, as Christians, we believe we live in a fallen world where our relationships are affected by brokenness, including sometimes our relationships with our own bodies. Some people do experience gender dysphoria, and that can be painful. But what ultimately matters more? Is it sex or gender identity? Is it your biology or is it your feelings? Activists normally make these three claims. Your body doesn't matter. Only you get to define who you are. And if anyone disagrees with you, that is harmful. Your body doesn't matter. If you don't like it, change it. Halt puberty. Bind your breasts. Take hormones. Be whoever you want to be, male, female, or something else. But for Christians, the body is part of God's good creation. There are only two distinct sexes, rooted in biology, both made in the image of God. Haven't you read that at the beginning the Creator made them male and female, Jesus said? What we do with our bodies matters, because God made them, dwells inside them, and one day He will raise us bodily from death. Activists say only you get to define who you are. The trans actor Elliot Page said, "Authenticity is the key to living a fulfilling life. Your feelings, in other words, are the real you." But we don't get to just self-identify like that. The Bible doesn't split apart body and soul. Every cell in my body declares what sex I am. Instead, it is the human heart which can't be trusted. Rather than putting trust in feelings which shift and change, my identity can be found in Jesus as a child of God. Male and female pale into insignificance with that. Paul writes, "If anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old is gone, the new is here." And activists claim that to not support someone's gender identity is being actively harmful to vulnerable people. Well, we want to protect those who are vulnerable. We just have different understandings of what it looks like to do that. What about the women who have experienced abuse, who fear the impact on single-sex spaces from biological males? Or what about those who defend women's rights, like J.K. Rowling or Kathleen Stock, who were shouted at and told they should die? And what about young people who have been encouraged to believe that changing gender will fix their problems, with life-altering consequences? Almost 2/3 of girls identifying as trans have another mental health condition. Around 1/3 have autism or another neurodiversity. 41% of young people who identify as trans do not identify as heterosexual. And links have also been established with eating disorders and neglect and abuse.
I welcome the Cass review, and I want to thank Hilary Cass and her team for the thorough and thoughtful and careful and sensitive way in which they've undertaken this research.
This review strikes hard and strikes sure at an area of public policy where fashionable cultural values have overtaken evidence, safety, and biological reality. This must now stop.
Well, in response to the rapid rise in young people questioning their gender, the UK government commissioned the Cass review. And the results were shocking. Puberty blockers had been trialled on children without being tested for safety first, and they cause potentially permanent changes to the brain, and are now banned. Cross-sex hormones should be stopped for under 18s. They had no positive effect and can lead to permanent infertility. And other reports found that 67% of 16 to 18s have been taught that sex is merely assigned at birth, rather than being rooted in biology. 72% of schools don't even inform parents if their child is questioning their gender. And this is having an impact on young people's lives. Take Kira Bell. Kira Bell was, in her words, a classic tomboy. But when puberty hit, she hated her periods and how her breasts and hips were growing. She became attracted to other girls, and she began to wonder, is there something wrong with me? She thought she should stop becoming a woman. And after superficial conversations, she was put on puberty blockers at 16, received testosterone at 17, and had a double mastectomy at 20. But the further she went, the more she realised she wasn't a man. At 21, she began detransitioning. She now has possible infertility, has lost her breasts and can't breastfeed, has atrophied genitals, a permanently changed voice, and facial hair. We don't believe in pressurising vulnerable young people to go down medicalised pathways with life-altering consequences. We believe in a better story. We believe in the goodness of the body, in a stable identity which isn't rooted in feelings, and in hope that any distress we feel will one day be washed away. So what makes you a man or a woman? Is it your feelings or facts? The subjective or the objective? The only way society can flourish is through the latter. J.K. Rowling wrote on this issue, "It isn't hate to speak the truth." And we agree.